I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what was going on. It just, every time I tried to hit the go live, it just wasn't happening. So here I am. Hi, I missed you last night. Hello, Amber Eyes, Rage Against the Machine, Kim Blanchard, Rick York, and Tom, Silent Walk, Barb in Ohio, and Sandra Pilar Gill, Alicia DeMoss, Analog Synth Player, Crazy Pots, Andrew Cruz, Agnes, Mental Pancakes, Tony Punch, Ray Clay. Hey, Ray Clay. Yeah, from the depths of a much angrier world. Yeah, I understand. It'll change in a minute. Oracle 11. Little Wing, 6 was 9. And we've got Outlaw Biker, Space Indian, True Blood, Denise Martinez, Sith Trish, and Bella. Hi, guys. So I actually thought I was going to be going live last night, and it didn't. I didn't, as you know. But I kept a lot open, and so I have a lot. And I'm not going to be, playing a lot of the videos. I might just be reading the titles, because what else do you need? What else do you need? BMCC, Miss Blanche, hello. T Lamb, thank you. What else do you need, man? Yeah. And the violence is not just the physical violence. It's the government taking violence against Americans. And they're really feeling it now, big time. Boy, do I wish that we had more communities operating, because they're needed. So let's just look at radar. I looked at radar earlier, and I couldn't believe the frequencies that were hitting this storm. But this storm was, well, let's just check it out, okay? Because I can't remember what state that storm was in. Did I not record it? I guess not. Okay, well, this was last night. Look at this. Look at these frequencies. Look at the frequencies hitting these so-called weather fronts. No. What are you doing? No. I think Bookend is a little pissed. He wants to go out, and he's doing things he knows he's not supposed to be doing. All right, so I'm sorry. I guess I didn't get a capture of the storm that I saw, and it's still operating, going through Kentucky. I think it was in Illinois. It was the frequencies. Okay. So I guess we're just going to ignore all of that, right? Right, YouTube meteorologists? Let's just ignore it all. Ignore it. You can't tell me that these YouTube meteorologists are not seeing, the frequencies. And there are a lot of radar sites that you can't see the frequencies, but they don't know about this one. No, I'm sorry. I ain't buying it. They haven't heard from, people leaving comments about HARP, about geoengineering, about weather modification. Of course they have. In fact, my subscribers have said they've left comments and they get deleted. All right, so fortunately, well, the last time I looked, I'm refreshing, but okay, no tornado warnings. But does it matter? Because you've got these severe weather warnings, and I will refresh. Oh, wow, the one in Arizona is gone. It expired, but you've got one in Tijuana, and in Oklahoma, Panhandle of Texas, up here in Colorado, and Kentucky. Kentucky. Well, Kentucky, it's not good. Kentucky, Bath, Breathitt, Elliott, Fleming, Johnson, Lee, Magoffin, Menifee, Morgan, Rowan, Wolf, Clay, Laurel, Leslie, McCreary, Whitley. In Colorado, it's Benton Prowers. More in Kentucky, you've got Lyon and Trigg and Caldwell. My God, more in Kentucky, Rock Castle, Jackson, Estill, Owsley. More in Kentucky. You got Fleming, you've got Powell. Tennessee, you've got Anderson and Campbell, Morgan, Scott. California, in the San Diego County. Texas, Hartley, Oldham. Texas, Hemphill, Lipscomb, Oshiltree, Roberts. All right, the link is in the chat to this severe weather report. You can check it out yourself if you're in any of these counties to find out more details about these warnings. Take it very seriously. Very seriously. Because this severe weather, even I'm shocked. Okay, let's get into it. So, a reminder to the Floridians and those along the Gulf Coast, Hurricane Debbie. Hurricane Debbie may turn out to be something that you want to pay attention to. But you want to start paying attention to it now. I'm just going to play a few minutes of Into Thin Air. If you have not subscribed, I recommend doing so. There are some channels that are keeping up with what is going on, and you need to keep up with what is going on because a whole lot of people are getting surprise storms that are destroying properties, okay, and infrastructure, and isolating people because the roads have just collapsed.
Welcome back, everybody. August 1st, and guess what? It seems Welcome back, everybody. August 1st, and guess what? It seems to me that a lot of you forgot that we are in the middle of hurricane season. And just as I said last week, we should be expecting a hurricane very close to Florida in just a couple days. Yes, I put out a video about a week ago talking about this potential storm, Hurricane Debbie, making its way towards Florida, and a lot of people didn't like that, but guess what? Those chances are now getting higher and higher as we approach the weekend. And yes, my friends, specifically on TikTok, everyone calling me a fearmonger, this is on the National Hurricane Center for Miami. As you can see here, 60% chance of cyclone formation over the next 7 days, the exact area I said this storm would go. It would move right underneath Florida, possibly touching Cuba into the Gulf of Mexico, skirting up the west coast of Florida. That is exactly what we're seeing here from the National Hurricane Center now, and you can also see that here in this Miami Herald article that was put out this morning at 8 o'clock. South Florida's rain chances rise as messy tropical wave moves towards the state. So, with that said, the path that this storm is forecast to take is pretty incredible. Within a few days from now, 72 hours, we could see this storm right about here, having just moved underneath the Keys and beginning its track up the west coast of Florida. You're going to see it form fairly quickly, but this isn't even the most dangerous part of this storm. First, we're going to get a slight landfall in Florida. It's going to skirt up into Georgia, back out into the Atlantic Ocean, where it's going to reform and strengthen, possibly going to a Category 3, more than likely a Category 2. It's then going to track back into Florida for a second landfall on the East Coast, affecting Georgia again, the Panhandle, Alabama, and then Mississippi, possibly Louisiana, before it skirts back out onto the East Coast again, and it's going to emerge right about here near the Carolinas and or Virginia. Incredible storm path we could possibly see with this. Now, part of
Incredible storm path? That's a storm path that, wow. Wow. Okay. A double hit, and it goes into Florida, and then Georgia, and then Alabama, and Mississippi, and then goes whoop back. Come on. All right. I'm going to link below again to Into Thin Air. These hurricanes, they don't stop once they make landfall. Isn't that kind of shocking? I'm also going to link to this. Let me link to this radar site and to another site that you might want to bookmark and check out. These forecasts are, you can't guarantee, from these forecasts that, but it's good to take a look at the forecasts, especially when they're government forecasts. And the link is in the chat. This is Tropical Tidbits. And you can go to forecast models, okay? And it does, I think, about 2 weeks. You can, play around with it and do as long as you want. So it usually starts, depending on what hour. I go to it late, so it usually starts at midnight, August 2nd, and you can play the forecast, play it out. We're now August 4th. Here it goes. Really? Wow. Coming back in. Did we even see that go to Georgia? See, this is the trouble that we're having. You can't, there's no way that you can forecast this weather. Certainly not, a week or 2 weeks ahead. But what is this? August 5th. So let's go back. That's what Into Thin Air was showing us. These forecasts change, okay? So we're at, let's go to, all right, August 2nd, 12 noon. And then it goes up every 6 hours. We're at August 3rd, 6 a.m., 12 noon. And it's beginning August 3rd at 6 p.m. and August 4, midnight. Boom, it hits. It's hitting Florida at midnight. Okay? Then it travels up. That's 6 a.m. Sunday morning, 12 noon Sunday. You've got an awful lot of rain coming to you, 6 p.m. August 4 and August 5 at midnight. So here we have Georgia and the northeast of Florida getting hit. This is midnight, August 5th. 6 a.m., August 5th. Southeast corner of Georgia and southwest corner of South Carolina. Coastal South Carolina, this is on noon Monday, August 5. Then it just continues right along the coastline. Hangs out. We're at August 8 now, midnight. and produces more supercell rain. So now our forecasts change all the time. That's why, you know, even though Into Thin Air and others they're dealing with what they have. That's why you should bookmark these sites to check out for yourself, because these forecasts can change on a dime. And that is not good for any of us. All right, thank you, Into Thin Air. What else do we have? Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center relocates 600 injured or orphaned animals for fire. Stone Canyon Fire, this is in Colorado.
Canyon fire burning north of Lyons is still 20% contained. This fire broke out Tuesday. We know at least 5 structures, including some homes, unfortunately did burn there. It's burned more than 1,500 acres. Investigators also found a body in one of the burned homes. That cause still under investigation. Your reporter Michael Abeda is.
So one of the reasons why
investigators also found a body in one of the burned homes. That cause.
So I guess this fire came from this direction, got the home, got the cars on the road, and
still under investigation.
Smoke coming from the ground. And yes, Jeff Snyder 2 plasma fires. If you don't know anything about it, go to Jeff Snyder 2's channel. But wildlife centers, all of the animals affected by these fires, I will post the link, you can watch the video. It's just heartbreaking what's happening. Wildfire burning in Colorado. Look at this. I'd like to know where. Look how this house was big, okay? Got the truck, it got the house. It's pretty much dustified, but the trees around the house seem to be quite fine. Come on. What happened? Okay, yeah, love it, love it, love it. No, I don't.
It's over 6,800 acres, 6,800 at this point. Just blew up overnight. The night before last, doubled, and that's in the quarry fire as well. We were really surprised at how quickly that fire took off. It looks like this home right now. Look at that. The fire went right up to the fence.
Link is in the chat. Sorry, I think my mic was off. I'm just saying, there's so much evidence that mainstream media offers. Oh, it's just thousands evacuate from Alexander Mountain fire. All of these fires, by the way, Colorado, okay?
The Alexander fire in Larimer County has burned almost 8,000 acres, so that one's growing fast.
This is the biggest one burning in our state right now. Thousands of people remain out of their home under evacuation orders. Fox 31 Jim Hooley live in Larimer County this morning. Jim, what's the latest situation there?
Well, you know, this fire has really taken off here over the past 48 hours, Ashley, and that's obviously a real concern. Just to give you an example, when we were up here on Monday morning or Tuesday morning when things started to take off, the fire was less than 1,000 acres. Right now, it's almost 8,000 acres, 7,600 acres to be exact, and only 1% contained. But here's what's happening out here right now, and a lot of people still remain out of their homes here this morning too. The air support, of course, is vital in a fire like this, but again, the resources here and all around the country are in short supply this morning. As of today, right now, as of this hour, more than 4,000 people here remain out of their homes in Larimer County. They are
4,000 evacuated, several homes got destroyed. There are 4 major fires in Colorado. There might be more. Hundreds evacuated Wednesday. This is the Quarry Fire that's burning in Jefferson County in Colorado.
Overnight, we saw yet another fire spark up in Jefferson County, the third fire along the Front Range in as many days that has caused evacuations. The Quarry Fire, as this is called, has now prompted the evacuation of nearly 600 homes. These are some photos sent to Denver 7 from that area. This was spotted by a Jefferson County deputy around 9 last night, and it's burned over 100 acres at last check, but we understand it's moving quickly toward the southeast. And there are evacuations in place in the Deer Creek, Mesa, Sampson, Maxwell, McKinney, and Murphy subdivisions.
Got an awful lot of people that are sitting outside their homes. Pedro Fire forces evacuations in Mariposa, in Tulum, is that how you pronounce it, in California.
Our wildfire coverage with the latest fire burning right now along the Tuolumne and Mariposa County line.
The Pedro Fire has burned 2,700 acres this morning. That is the same number as last night. It's burning south of Don Pedro Reservoir after starting yesterday afternoon. Here's Live Copter 3 flying over the fire zone. A new update from CAL FIRE has now containment at just 7%. So far, no word on if any structures are damaged, but we have seen it burning very close to homes. Crews say dry grass, brush, and trees are fueling the spread of this one. And here's the map of the current evacuations for the Pedro Fire. Evacuation orders have been issued for areas between where this fire is burning and Granite Springs. Several roads in Tuolumne County are also under an evacuation order. Now, and evacuation center, by the way, set up at the Coulterville VFW Hall. Small and
There's so many fires. I mean, every day another fire is breaking out. The Borel fire continues to blaze. The Borel fire that took out the town. Hundreds of homes overnight, boom, gone. Havilah, California.
Allowed to get out of the cars because the fire was still active. Then we met with Kern County Fire Department in Bodfish. From there, as a convoy, we made our way through road closed signs to make our trek up to the top of the mountain. Along the way, there was scattered smoke clouds filling the air and burnt debris was clear.
The scattered smoke. All right, I've got to pull up Jeff Snyder 2's channel. And for anyone who doesn't know, I highly recommend that you get to know, because this is another cause of the fires. And if you go back, you will see how, he's been, posting on this for a very long time. And these fires coming from the ground, coming down the mountain, Montana, I saw smoke coming from the ground down the mountain in several different areas, and it wasn't any controlled burn. It wasn't on, I'm sure it was somebody's property, but there wasn't anything around but woods. And I thought, this is not good. What the hell am I looking at? Came across Jeff Snyder 2's channel. He posted a video, Montana, showing smoke coming from the ground. A line of it, and then another line of it. Okay. Oh, So when I see this, that's what I think of.
Clearly visible. The historic town of Havilah was unrecognizable.
And look at how dry all of these trees are. But it just takes down the structure.
A landmark sign that led the historic town of
All of this very dry debris
was clearly visible. The historic
You've got the brush behind it, you've got brush right in front of it, but it takes down dust to dust, the structure.
town of Havilah was unrecognizable. A landmark sign that let drivers know how far they were from nearby towns.
All right, I will post the link. You can watch. It's only about a 2-minute video, and there's more. There is more. Hey, South Texas prepper. Nice to see you. Yeah, there's more evidence. I mean, it's remarkable that people are not questioning what's happening here. Yeah, let me take off some of these. I did post his... Yes, I did. I'll post it again. Okay. Now, the Pedro fire explodes 2,700 acres. Park fire destroys nearly 300 structures. Structures. Could be outhouses, but it did destroy over 150 homes or something. You can't quote me on the numbers because the numbers just continue to change.
Threatening at least 500 structures.
So this fire, the evacuation warnings for Magalia and other towns surrounding this fire have been lifted. A whole lot of evacuations are still ongoing, but it does seem that Magalia and Chico and Concow and other towns are safe for now. But I will tell you that a subscriber, you know, the smoke from these fires is so intense that I got an email from a subscriber in Magalia who said that she was going to a hotel because she had to get away from the smoke. And then the next day I see this broadcast with this guy talking about the smoke in Magalia, and he too had to get away from it. Forest Ranch man returns to property to find home destroyed by park fire. Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun.
Yeah, pretty destroyed. I held out hope, hoping that something would be still here.
This is Mike Wittenberg's first time seeing his home. Mike is kneeling in what's left of his 4-year-old daughter's room, looking for anything he can salvage for her.
This wrecked me even more. Because we found something, there's nothing left of it.
Everything is gone or burnt beyond recognition. Mike and his family of 5 live in Forest Ranch, where an evacuation order was in place due to the park fire.
We knew the fire was coming. I didn't think it was actually going to take our house. The fiance is grabbing pictures off the walls and keepsakes, and first I didn't understand why. You know, I just wanted her to get the family out. And now I get it, now that it's all gone.
Mike is thankful.
I'm going to link below. You can listen to the remainder of the interview. His fiancée comes over. They're both crying. This is heartbreaking. It's gone, you know. This area is really beautiful, and you can tell that they had an incredible view. Oh boy. Man who lost home in Camp Fire loses home to Park Fire. Oh, repeat.
Rick Perot puts out some cat food on the off chance that Kathmandu, their gray tabby, survived the fire.
Kitty, kitty, kitty. They're hiding in the bushes. If you got away, now's the time.
Rick Perot and his wife moved to this Forest Ranch neighborhood 5 years ago after being burned out in the Camp Fire. When they first got word of the Park Fire, they were out of the country. When they got the evacuation warning, they immediately called their house sitter.
We said, don't wait for the order stage, go ahead and load up. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get our shy cat out because it hides from people. So he got our other cat and loaded the car and was able to easily and successfully evacuate.
Perot is no stranger to surveying the remains of a burned home, and after losing a home in the Camp Fire, he became a fire safety advocate, educating his neighbors on maintaining a defensible space around their homes.
So 28 houses benefited from defensible space and are still standing. And unfortunately, our 3 homes, it was just too much Mother Nature.
Perot tells me he and his wife are...
Don't they want to? Don't they want to inquire? I mean, look at all of these very dry plants. Look at the trees behind this house. The house is gutted. Look at all of these leaves that are incredibly dry. And somehow this fire magically, it was a miracle that it didn't touch any of the plant, of the foliage, of the dry leaves, nothing. But the house is gone. It's just taking out houses. It's heartbreaking to see this, you know, and at his age, this is not what he needs, not what he needs after the Camp Fire. God. All right, the link is below. Bookend is having fun. If you hear Bookend playing. And they're still at it. Heathrow Airport painted orange. Like, what is this about? Why do they do this? Because what is it going to achieve? I don't get it. You can watch the full. They just go through the airport spraying orange paint on everything, and I think the only thing that they accomplish is to get people pissed off. Link is in the chat, you can watch it. Vermont. I'm covering Vermont again because it is shocking. It's as shocking as the Havilah town taken out overnight, hundreds of homes, the town of Havilah, and the Borel fire is still raging on with more evacuations. Vermont, there was which I'm not including, a video with the title, How Vermonters Can Prepare for Surprise Storms. The surprise storms coming at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5, right?
And I know you live in a beautiful area of the country, right? The mountainous terrain. And as nice as it is, sometimes it can be alarming because it allows these rainstorms to really bubble up and you get that flooding. I know you actually experienced some minor flooding earlier, a few weeks ago, but this was major flooding. Can you talk about the extent of damage that you experienced at your restaurant?
It was pretty severe. Our road was closed. It's still closed. They had to do a fast water rescue of a young man that was on top of his vehicle. That's the vehicle that they just showed. Our business, it was hard for us to get to it because there is so much water there. In some areas of our property, there was 3 to 4 inches, and some there was 2 to 3 feet. We were pretty socked in there with mud and water.
And what we're looking at right now is video of actually your parking lot that's turned into a lake. And I want to show everybody real quickly, if we can bring up the graphics team, because I believe your business, of course, is in St. Johnsbury. And when we look at this type of event, I mean, this is historical. You're looking at nearly 8.5 inches in just a small time frame.
All right. I'll post the link if anybody is interested in watching. Yeah, well, mainstream media keeps the programmed mind intact. 4 dead after fire traps them inside home. Homes are going up, buildings are going up, apartment complexes are going up, businesses are going up, factories, pallet yards, recycling yards. Okay, yeah, recycling centers. It's not good, but we're going to get to that in a moment. That was a little bit not organized well. Flash flooding cuts off access to rest of town for hundreds in Lyndonville. Overnight, I didn't see any of this on radar. You wake up in the morning and this is what you got. We're talking severe weather. That's why I keep saying, pay attention. It doesn't matter if you don't have a tornado warning, because they can bring about a whole lot of destruction without a tornado.
Any access to the rest of the town.
The rain was just horrendous all night long and washed out the roads and bridges, and I took a 4-wheeler to get here right now, and this is, 2 days later? There's a home right there, it's in the middle of the road. And there's at least 2 more up here that are way off their foundations down here, a long ways from where they were. And that's typical for the entire area.
The Sheldon Brook was rerouted during the heavy rain at the intersection of Red Village and Severance Hill Road, wiping out nearly everything in its path.
We've been this morning rerouting the river, trying to route the river back, getting it away from the road so they can work on power lines and putting the power lines back. The trees that we believe dammed stuff up from when it came down out of Kirby, I believe, and yeah, time it got down here, it had no place to go, so it flooded.
Power lines are destroyed, and Lyndonville Fire Chief Jeff Caro says roughly 165 people are without power. He says his top priority is getting the roads repaired so people trapped in their homes can get out and first responders can get in.
A rough guess right now would be probably 75 people or so on this road, but we're talking a couple hundred people throughout East Lyndon that cannot get out, nor can we get in. I've also been in contact numerous times with Vermont Emergency Management, and so they are in the process now of sending us some cleanup kits.
He says the only way to reach people trapped is by ATV, and thankfully those who have them are using them to bring supplies to their neighbors. Lyndonville's Swiftwater Rescue Team was also busy Monday evacuating residents whose homes were rendered uninhabitable by the storms.
Lyndonville, who experienced it, Stephen.
It feels like that flooding just hasn't ended. 19 days some folks have had.
Will you look at what's happened to the roads here?
Since the last round of significant flooding occurred. Katie, the Lyndonville police, we know, telling people, hey, don't head out today. Don't travel, just shelter in place if you can.
It's because you're underwater. You're floating. But we never felt the house go before I did.
And Dorothy goes by Pete. They were home inside that house when this flooding happened. Can you walk us through that night?
We went to bed at 8, right? And she heard the stuff before I did.
I didn't hear it till the thunder and lightning came. I didn't hear it.
And then we got the call from Jeremy, the neighbor, and he says, you need to move. Oh, you need to move out. And I says, why? He says, because you're underwater. You're floating. But we never felt the house go.
And what happened after that? Were there boats there to rescue you?
No, these two nice guys that live up the road, one of the guys said that he knew somebody was in there. So he come down, he rapped on the window, my bedroom window, which is on the other side, and he says, you got to get out of there. So I passed my iron out, I passed my dog out, and I was the last one to leave.
That must have been terrifying.
It was, because I didn't realize that the house was on Sevens Hill Road.
Because it started back there?
Yeah.
That's where the house was?
Yeah. Yep, it sure was.
How far do you think it moved from that water?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And this is your car here?
That's my car. That is what's left of my car.
How are you processing all of this? This is a lot.
She is handling it very well for what she has going through.
Yeah.
But she's done very well.
I've called the insurance company, and they said that if I know what it's worth, what's left on it, that I only had 46,000 miles on that car, and I've had it since 2019. So I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And they said that they probably could do me good.
Okay.
So whatever I get out of the car and I have left, I'm going to get me a new car. But it's not coming back here. No way.
You were telling me you don't plan on coming back?
No. Twice in 2 weeks is too much for me, because she's my responsibility. She's my mother's youngest sister, and she's the only one left out of 4, and there's no way that I'm going to bring her back here and have this happen again.
And Pete.
How wonderful. Wow.
You're 98 years old, turning 99.
I'll be turning 99 in September 5th.
You said you heard sounds first before you realized the house was moving, right?
Then the house had already moved
Okay.
before I heard the sounds, and then it was crackling. It was like things were breaking apart or hitting the trailer. I think it's when this wood was hitting the trailer. But I had no idea that the porches had gone off. And these two gentlemen that saved us said if she had stepped out, she'd be gone under the trailer in the swift water.
How much time do you think you had to get out?
Once they came, we didn't have, because about 5 o'clock, I think they got here.
But then the mud where we got out was only about this thick.
But it's really
But the
thick
rushing
now.
water was around us, but it wasn't near us. So we were lucky.
Yeah.
I'm going to link below. You can listen to the remainder of the interview. But yeah, you need neighbors that care. You need family that cares. And yeah. All right, well, severe weather, okay? And when you listen to these people, they didn't know it was coming. They didn't know what was coming. And it's a repeat hit for Vermont over and over again. The infrastructure in these towns have been destroyed. So 4 dead after fire traps them inside home. Okay. Large Berkeley fire destroys vacant building, burns van housing man and 3 dogs. Oh, More flooding. I-465. This is in Indianapolis. Both directions. Interstate 465 shuts down because of the flooding. That was from today. More Linden residents deal with fallout from latest flooding event. Sorry, a little disorganized, but here we go.
It's a long line where it came over here.
It's going to be hard, but we'll get through it.
Brenna and all her neighbors coping with being isolated, saying she woke up Tuesday alone and scared.
I panicked, didn't know what to do. I grabbed all the dogs, I put them in my truck. I called my fiance, I called my dad. I said, the river is up to the house. I don't know what to do. We have no power. I'm by myself. So I got in the truck. I tried to go up the road to see if I could get into town. I couldn't get into town. The road was halfway washed out. The excavator.
The damage is extensive, taking out lawns, vehicles, and anything the raging water could get a hold of. Fortunately, the water only got into the basement of many of the houses, including Richard Berry, who decided to stick it out in his house, not thinking it was going to be as bad as it was.
And you could see the water going down the road, and I said, this ain't going to be good. Hear the stones rolling in the river. It was just pretty severe. Then started hearing trees smashing on the guardrails, and I said,
crews have been working to restore passable roadways and connecting electricity where they can reach.
Yesterday, we canvassed the area.
All right, so you understand why I preface pay attention, why I leave the links, you know, so that you know what's going on in your county. It's really, I knew it was going to get worse and worse and worse, but I have to tell you, I'm a little shocked myself to see the amount of destruction that's going on a daily basis with a whole lot of Americans. Like, okay, now what? Unfortunately, a whole lot don't know, and probably don't even want to know about weather modification and geoengineering. So, like California with the landslides, Kentucky landslide.
Now at 11, 36 condo owners in Southgate have to leave their homes tonight. Now at 11, 36 condo owners in Southgate have to leave their homes tonight because there's a landslide, and an engineer says it's too dangerous to stay in their condos. Well, tonight those homeowners say they have nowhere to go, and no one is giving them any answers. So they call WCPO 9 News. And Rowan shows you what they're seeing.
In these Southgate condos,
see how much it's moved?
Mother Nature is moving in and making changes.
I'm going to say extremely low frequencies that we see in North Kentucky a whole lot, and I've pointed them out a whole lot. Sorry. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, right into North Kentucky. And extremely low frequencies can move Earth because they emit the frequencies through the ground and or into the atmosphere to control the weather, to modify, to intensify, to steer the weather fronts.
Pretty much stick my finger right here, and that's how much it's moved.
The problems in Brittany Evans' ground floor unit start outside.
The carpet and baseboards are pulling away from each other, so I can see into the ground here.
And continue in.
This is brand new this week.
From the bathroom to the living room and into the laundry closet.
That goes all the way underneath my carpet, and the carpet's now not leveled anymore.
You can feel the crack right here.
The changes developed over the past 2 months, and just last Monday, the HOA held a meeting about them.
They assured us that the buildings were safe, everything was fine. This was just Monday. Friday,
7 o'clock at night, 7:30, we get a notice telling us to evacuate immediately. We're under an active landslide.
A sewer upsizing project is underway nearby. SD1 says test results from recent months came back Friday. That is when the structural engineer recommended temporary relocation.
But for how long? You know, what are we going to do?
We're out of the loop of this communication.
He said call back Monday when somebody's here. Click. And you know what? That's the way I feel about it.
The reason we got in touch with you is because we need help out here.
I took their questions to their HOA, who didn't answer. But SD1 texted us that they are working with the HOA on a solution that doesn't create a financial hardship on the residents, though they didn't provide more details.
This is somebody's fault, regardless if it's the homeowners association or SD1, but somebody needs to step up and put us somewhere safe to live if they're telling us our buildings are not safe.
The Evans family is now packing up.
Because we do have a child in the home, and God forbid something happen while we're here. And so we're just going to pack as much as we can and, you know, just wait to hear.
Their home and their patients on shaky ground.
We're all in shock. We don't even know what's going to happen next.
In Southgate.
Oh, God, again, the mic. I have to get a new mic because this mute button is not working. All I said was somebody left a comment saying they love targeting hillbillies. Those people were hillbillies? I don't think so. And a whole lot of people think they're only targeting poor people. Okay, I guess you haven't been watching my live streams for a very long time and noticing how many are losing their homes, and these homes are not for poor people. The coastal loss of homes, they're not the poor people. All right, they're targeting everyone. And these homes electrified?
You so much. The storm brought down tree branches, knocked out power for thousands across the metro.
But one neighborhood experienced a different kind of electrical phenomenon. KETV News Watch 7's Izzy Fonfara-Drool explains.
Bill, Quinicia, Wednesday night storm left neighbors along 121st Street without power until they had too much of it. They woke up at 5:30 a.m. Thursday morning to find their walls buzzing with electricity. Walt Burris heard a strange noise early Thursday morning when he woke up. At first he thought it was just water from his washing machine.
I had to go to the main line to turn it off, and then there was still a buzzing sound. It looked like steam, but it ended up being smoke.
Hours later, another neighbor experienced the same thing.
My wall was getting warm, and I could hear the buzzing.
They called the fire department, who determined their houses had become electrified. And they weren't the only ones.
We assessed those situations, found a third home that was also affected, and waited for OPPD to assist us in de-energizing those homes.
The houses were charged with energy, causing siding to smolder and wires to smoke. For safety reasons, the firefighters couldn't put out the fires until the power was off, especially on Burris's home.
They had to tear off some of the siding and got steel sidings.
The cause is still being investigated.
It appears right now that they've also got a line down in a church property nearby that may have, started the main issue.
Burris also said it's possible an incorrectly set up generator could have fed too much power back into the system, but nothing has been confirmed. From West Omaha, I'm Izzy Fonfara-Drool.
At this point, you can pretty much, be prepared for anything, and any. I electrified. Okay. Oh, and I'm just going to play this out. This is 4 years old, this video. I'll post the link. It's Dana Ashley. I think a lot of you know Dana. It was sent to me by a subscriber. And just the HARP, okay, this guy who works at the HARP station is telling you what HARP can do.
This facility was built by the Air Force about 20 years ago to study the ionosphere, to do active experiments in the ionosphere. The ionosphere is a layer that surrounds the Earth. It's important for a lot of things, like satellite communication. Any kind of radio signals that pass through the ionosphere are affected by the ionosphere. Each of these trailers you see around me have transmitters in them. The transmitters feed power from the main building over there up into these dipole antennas. Fundamentally, what this is about is taking the ionosphere, turning it into a laboratory. We can do experiments. We can create bubbles. We can heat small sections. We can create waves. We can excite plasma resonances and do a lot of experiments. We can transmit signals all around the world, and we can do experiments that no one else can do. It's a laboratory without walls.
Now, if you're the kind of person, let's just back up and say this. If you're the kind of person who doesn't already believe or understand the fact that there's some stuff being intentionally sprayed upon us, I understand. I felt that way myself, 2002, when I first heard about it. I get it. It's a disturbing thing to accept, but you might want to back up and just take a look at other videos on the topic, play a little catch up, because this video is not going to compute, okay?
I will post the link again. Yeah, we're all conspiracy theorists, right? Troubled waters. Is New Mexico's drinking water safe? Is any of our drinking water safe? No.
Is your water safe to drink? For many New Mexicans, the answer is your water safe to drink? For many New Mexicans, the answer is no. According to results of a year-long Larry Barker investigation, many New Mexicans are unknowingly drinking water dangerously contaminated with cancer-causing elements.
In fact, we found the water in many New Mexico communities so tainted it's been in violation of federal regulations for years.
Anyone in New Mexico? Link is in the chat. But, you know, I've posted videos on the, is it the ESG group that goes around doing an awful lot of testing of waters, testing of foods. I can't I can't remember the name of it now, but every time they do investigations of water, it's pretty much all of our water is poison. The air is poison. The water is poison. The food is poison. You cannot get to a good end when that is taking place in a whole country. 2 charged in deadly accident with Corolla. Wild horse. Wild horses. The Outer Banks.
Face charges after a wild stallion was hit by a utility task vehicle on the Outer Banks over the weekend. Well, the horse had to be euthanized. The Corolla Wild Horse Fund calls it a major loss for the herd. And Amy Avery tells us this loss could be felt for generations to come. Amy?
Yeah, Tom, the horse, a 10-year-old stallion named Bullwinkle, had to be put down for major injuries to both back legs, internal bleeding, and scrapes all over his back. Herd manager Meg Puckett says this is a tragic example of how reckless human behavior can cause damage to the herd.
That's right. Reckless human behavior. On the beach, somebody driving a vehicle hits this stallion. All right, the link is in the chat, and you can listen. Oh, God. You can listen to the full video. Oh, wow. Humans. Humans. And small planes are crashing all over the place. New Jersey.
Now to the breaking news unfolding as we...
Now to the breaking news unfolding as we speak in Atlantic County. This the scene in Galloway Township moments ago. Chopper 6 over the site where a single engine plane crashed in a wooded area right nearby Atlantic City International Airport. As you can see, there's also a parachute in the trees there. Action News reporter Charles Watson live near that crash site. He just arrived. Charles, as we understand it, incredibly, no injuries here.
Well, that's good. And thank you, Shauna Miriam. It was the EWG, yes, Environmental Working Group, that goes around doing all of the testing on foods and water. Thank you. I think also it's not just my memory, but I just have way too much in my brain. Can't handle all that much anymore. Okay. British farmer describes how the UK government is offering to pay farmers not to produce any food. They're doing it here too.
The next thing I'm going to tell you is unreal, because now we've been offered £2,500 to join a scheme for 3 years. We don't supply you any food. Now listen to that.
We're going to go hungry.
I am going to plough a field. I'm going to put spring barley in. I'm going to get £440 off the government per acre. Okay? That when it comes to crop size, leave it rot in the ground. So I don't get no straw for the cattle. You don't get nothing for your bread, for everything we make. Okay? But I can also plant bee mix, which is for birds and bees. I can plant wild bird seed, which is for wild birds. I can also be paid to buy a ton of wild bird seed like anybody puts in their garden for the birds and drool it out on the ground once a week. I can get paid for that. Now my accountant says do it, because in doing that I've not got to buy fertiliser, which since the Ukraine war it's gone from £250 an acre to to £1,000 a tonne. So in order to fertilise your food, I've got to buy fertiliser at £1,000 a tonne. It's come down a little bit in some times and it goes up a little bit. But that's basically where we are. So I've now got a crop that I don't have to spray. I don't have to send nobody out there with a tractor. I don't have to fertilise it. But I can just leave it in the ground and let it roll. And pick up my £440 an acre and go all over it again. And the government is giving me £2,500 for the next 3 years to do that.
They incentivize farmers to not produce. Food shortages are going to be pretty wild. So, oh boy. Crews respond to crane collapse in Brooklyn. Why are cranes collapsing? Why do we have so much going on? But even cranes, they just collapse, they hit buildings, they cause damage. 2 dead as Boar's Head recalls additional 7 million pounds of deli meat? 2 dead. Well, this one just said 1 dead, but guess what's happening? Expansion of Boar's Head Listeria recall causes more grocery store deli closures. And as far as I'm concerned, this is another way that they're creating the food shortages. And when all of these different ways coalesce and come together and merge, boom, we have a big problem. What is this? Guess where COVID fact checkers are getting their funding from? Vaccine companies. The link is in the chat. Should you be interested in watching this, and what am I seeing right here? Is this then means that my live chat is like 10 minutes behind? There's like a 10-minute delay? Am I watching this live? That's not quite right. All right, well, if that's the case, that's the case. Okay, lots going on in London, civil unrest, more scenes on the streets of London this evening following the tragic events of Southport. A migrant who was stabbing children that went to some Taylor Swift event. It wasn't Taylor Swift there. 3 children have died. And I think the stabbing was of 10 children. So, let's see, will this play? No. Will this? For good reason, people are angry. They're not liking all of what is taking place with these illegal migrants coming into Western countries. Civil unrest in Hartlepool. It seems like when people murder innocent children, the British wake up fast and realize we have a serious problem that we didn't have before. Yeah, I'm just going to play this short from Katie Hopkins.
A couple of points on the stabber from South Point. Number 1, he's no more Welsh than I am. His parents are from Rwanda. Just because you happen to hover your vagina over Cardiff and drop a baby out, presumably paid for by the British taxpayer on the NHS, that doesn't make your baby Welsh now, does it? If you shove a thistle up your arse, does that make you Scottish, magically, I wonder? Or if he was born in a sewer, would that make him more of a shit than he clearly is? Second up, he's clearly not 17 either. If he's 17, then I'm 22, and my wrinkles and other bits of me strongly suggest otherwise. And finally, people throw out on Twitter, oh, you guys, you're just stirring up racial tensions. No. You stir up racial tensions and hatred by going into a children's dance class and stabbing our children. That's not on us, that's on them, and they need to own it right.
Restaurants in downtown Vancouver fed up with street disorder chaos.
He looks quickly, then walks casually down the hallway. This man doesn't work at this restaurant. He's an intruder. He looks through the belongings of staff members, then walks out with 2 backpacks and a jacket.
So he went through the stairs internally, from the inside. He went straight to the locker area.
The brazen theft happened around 8:30 Monday morning at Zata Wazit on Granville Street downtown.
It's however, we already have to deal with the increasing wages, the increasing taxes, all of this, and now we have to deal with safety, and we have to deal with recruiting employees and make sure that we're going to be safe here.
Last year, staff were scared to come to work after Paul Schmidt was stabbed to death by a stranger at the Starbucks next door. Incidents at the restaurant have been minor in comparison, but frequent, including this man stealing from the fridge. When staff approach, he becomes aggressive, and once outside, he kicks the door.
We want people to feel safe when I enter here. It's like their home, and now they're entering our home and they're destroying our home.
The A stand out front is frequently kicked in, plants on the patio smashed, and staff who open in the mornings can find human excrement out front.
How fabulous. The link is in the chat should you want to hear the last minute. All of our countries are being brought down. Whistleblower details trafficking and abuse of migrant children by MS-13 El Salvadorian gang that, not sure if it's the case today, but I posted videos years ago, MS-13 coming across the border, and they, at that time, were the world's most violent gang. This Venezuelan gang that we have in our country may have taken first place in terms of the violence.
Now today, the one thing both sides can agree on is that the border is a mess and something does need to be done about it. While policymakers duke out what can be done to fix the situation, people like whistleblower Tara Lee Rodas, who worked on the ground, had urgent concerns. She testified before Congress this week to outline how the policy mess has translated into an abuse and trafficking situation for children.
One key area of concern for Rodas was how gangs such as MS-13 were sponsoring kids and then launching them into a maze of abuse and horror. She says when she reported what she saw, her badge was taken. Health and Human Services whistleblower Tara Rodas is here now to shine a light on this situation. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you shining a light on what we now know is government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking.
Yeah, when I was watching your testimony, you talked about how the things you saw had fundamentally changed your life. What are the horrors that Americans need to know about?
Well, I think the fact that the United States government has used billions of taxpayer dollars to put children in what is modern day slavery is appalling. It is shameful. And people just don't realize that the children who show up at the border alone, these children are here alone, they're very vulnerable, and then we're shipping them to criminals, traffickers, and members of transnational criminal organizations like MS-13 and 18th Street Gang and other cartels. Honestly, had I not seen it myself, I could not believe that the U.S. government has become the middleman in a child trafficking operation.
So when you say child trafficking operation, you're talking about what happens to them when they actually get here to the U.S. or the process of coming over the border?
Yeah, the process of them coming over the border. The children were telling us they were being recruited by bad actors here in the United States saying, hey, if you come here, instead of making $2.50 a day in Guatemala, this was a real case that I worked on. Instead of $2.50 a day, I'm going to pay you $6 an hour. Now you have to stay with me until your debts are paid. So the children we knew were in debt bondage. They were telling us that, and they were not able to leave the sponsor until the debts were paid.
Link is in the chat. We have a criminal government, don't we know it? Working with the cartel, working with these gangs. And here we go again. Arizona voters to decide on border measure as if their vote will do a friggin' thing.
It is a top issue headed to the November ballot this election, border security. Proponents of Prop 314 say this will empower local law enforcement to arrest migrants crossing the border illegally. Advocates for migrants say this is just deja vu.
This is now SB 1070 on steroids.
Alejandra Gomez not holding back. She's the executive director of Living United for Change in Arizona, or Lucha, the Latino.
All of the advocates who fight all of the measures that no, the Arizona governor and government is not going to do a flippin' thing about the border, so it doesn't matter. But look at this. Unbelievable. Illegal migrant from Venezuela left her receipt at the grocery store. Cashier took a photo. EBT food stamp balance, $13,401.82. EBT cash balance, $4,498. Look at this. This is the $13,401. Cash balance was $4,498. Do you think any Americans are getting that kind of money? Do you? Get up, stand up. Yeah. Migrant shelter costs in Massachusetts expected to exceed $1 billion for the next several years. But that's okay, because everybody in Massachusetts, all of the residents, you know, the American citizens, are absolutely fine. And it's such a blue state that they believe the economy is doing beautifully, and everybody's working, making a shitload of money, and their taxes, no problem. I can write that check, and yeah, we want to help all of these illegal migrants. Right, you guys in Massachusetts? Wrong. Bronx residents, officials say city hasn't communicated about another migrant shelter.
A migrant shelter that's nearly up and running in the Bronx.
People who live nearby say they want more information on exactly who will be living there. Despite months of protests, furniture and other items are being placed at the location in Riverdale. Shosh Bedrosian covers the Bronx. She spoke with residents and local leaders.
Moving equipment and wrapped up furniture sits outside 435 West 238th Street in Riverdale. It's part of the city's preparations for 95 migrant families to move into this 7-floor apartment building.
We're worried about, how it's going to affect the neighborhood.
I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're coming from. But I'm willing to get to know them. Simple as that.
For months now, residents have been conflicted by the city's plans to bring migrants into their community.
We will welcome them with open arms.
CBS News New York covered this rally back in September when the new owner of the building revealed there were ongoing discussions with the Department of Homeless Services to convert the building for migrant housing. But fast forward 11 months later, Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz said he and other officials have been left in the dark by the city.
You can't operate in secrecy like that. It's not fair. They should communicate with the elected officials. They should communicate with the community board and with the people in the neighborhood. And they have not really done that. They've done a horrible job with communication.
Well, communication is gone. It's gone, okay? There's almost no healthy communication in our country anymore. That's really sad. Of course, you have, the few individuals who actually do know how to communicate clearly, and when they do, things go well. If they're communicating with somebody who also can accept that communication and then respond appropriately. We don't have a lot of people in our country that actually do that. And in fact, what we are seeing more and more is people don't care. They do not care. Government officials, whatever, whomever, employers, business people, it's something went awry with our communication. And that's why it's very good to work on your communication so that you can communicate clearly with other people. Yeah. And you communicate your word, you keep. 2 men burn woman with unknown liquid substance in park. This is Ohio.
The state fire marshal brought in a dog to walk the Chippewa Trail at Silver Creek Park Monday. 24 hours earlier, a woman was severely burned while hiking.
She felt wet and then it was on fire.
Summit Metro Parks' Lindsay Smith says 2 young men tossed a liquid on the woman's legs that combusted, causing the severe burns.
The park visitor was alone at the time of the attack.
Summit Metro Park says another park visitor heard the woman's screams and called 911.
They were
Link is in the chat if you want to listen to the remainder. Are you getting that the violence is just growing and growing? New York City, just today, man stabbed to death in lobby of Bronx apartment building. Oh. Man killed in Staten Island's first gun-related homicide of 2024. Staten Island, New York City, it's comprised of 5 boroughs. You got Manhattan, you've got Staten Island, you got the Bronx, you got Brooklyn, you got Queens. That's New York City. Okay, so New York City, the violence seems to be growing and growing. Lower Manhattan shooting injures 2 police sergeants. Video shows mail carrier being robbed at gunpoint in Queens.
Maurice, police say an unknown individual approached the 48-year-old female postal worker, displaying a firearm and taking her mail key before fleeing. They tell us no arrests have been made and the investigation is ongoing. Many in the area share concerns with us about the growing threat of mail theft, including Councilmember Robert Holden. I met with him at his Maspeth office today.
It's not being handled by the U.S. Postal Service. It continues.
And that seems to be a thing. Postal worker held at gunpoint on Detroit's west side in broad daylight. Auburn. This is in Washington, not D.C., Washington State. Auburn police say 4 people were shot in planned ambush at bus stop. Seems that it was in California, it was Oakland, that there were a lot of gun violence, a lot of shootings at bus stops. Well, now it's Washington.
A day after a barrage of bullets at this bus stop. There's number 1. A neighborhood is still tallying the damage.
There's number 2. There's a second one right there.
Gunfire hit nearby houses.
Number 3 right there in that corner.
Sophia Golub says it's the latest act of violence in a part of Auburn where they're growing tired of the shootings.
This isn't like the first time. If it was the first time and there was this many holes, then we would have definitely been scared. But it's happened multiple times.
Police call what happened Sunday morning an ambush attack.
I mean, this is extremely alarming, the fact that, these people came out and started shooting at a public bus.
Investigators say 4 people dressed in all black with masks on came rushing out, firing as 5 people stepped off of a King County Metro bus. 4 of them were hurt.
They used these handguns that they illegally modified to make them full auto.
It was terrifying. I woke up to the boom, 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 boom at 6:40.
Colleen Smith says it took place right next to her apartment building.
That's the first time ever in my life I've ever heard that many shots go off, that close to me.
These are bullets, they can kill people, so it's definitely very scary.
Police.
Okay. You getting it? And when I see these, they're all dressed in the same color and they got the hoods on and everything, I have to wonder if this is that they're actually being paid to create this kind of violence. They sure do want Americans scared shitless. I don't know. Man killed as overnight argument leads to shooting in North Phoenix.
Good morning, Arizona. Gibby here in the Sunny Slope neighborhood where detectives continue to investigate an overnight shooting. We just got an update from the Phoenix Police Department telling us that unfortunately this shooting is a deadly shooting, although they do have a suspect in custody. If you see from our AZ family drone, they've been going in and out of this home here that you see on Sunny Slope. They tell us that before 11 o'clock, they got a call of 2 men who were in an argument. One of them got so upset that he shot and killed the other. That victim.
You can listen to the full broadcast, but yeah, based on all of these mainstream media reports, it does seem that, people get into arguments and then pull out guns. Man identified as after being killed execution style outside Philadelphia mosque. Burglars hit more homes in Encino. This is in Southern California. And a whole lot of these illegal migrants come across the border. They've been in gangs in their countries. They come across the border and they literally just burglarize whole neighborhoods. There has to be some kind of accountability. Squatters took over a vacant property in Tower Grove, Missouri.
Off, but trouble still finding a way in while this building is left to sit with the landlord nowhere nearby. Tonight, neighbors of that problem property are sounding off, saying it's attracting the homeless and spawning safety concerns. This is in the South City's Tower Grove neighborhood, where tonight our John Kipper is working to track down the owner.
So if they plan on renting it or selling it, do it. Don't just leave it there.
Over in South City sits a vacant property, ticking off neighbors like Shanika Williams, who says squatters have taken it over for around a year.
It's not a very safe atmosphere when you know that somebody could be just watching your comings and goings and could possibly go into your house.
The property on McKeon Avenue in the Tower Grove East neighborhood was sold 2 years ago to 12 Bridges Incorporated, a Reno, Nevada company. It's since sat vacant.
There have been threatening comments made to some of our neighbors by the people who were there, and obviously that's not okay.
Danielle Lageneckert says she wishes the city of St. Louis could raise fines for owners of derelict property to motivate those owners to make changes, because now...
But that's not... They're deliberately bringing down whole neighborhoods. They want them impoverished. They want them looking impoverished. They want them poor. They want them to, and then it attracts drug addicts, it attracts squatters, and it attracts violence. This is deliberate. I mean, they've been doing it all over the country for decades. One man shuts down the entire bus system. All right, people are angry. People are very frustrated. The frustration causes an awful lot of anger.
Someone smoking over here. Okay. And then she said, I can't get on the bus for some reason, and my appointment's in 30 minutes. I have to be on there.
Come over here and sit down. Take a seat.
I have to be on there. Okay. I have to get places. I'm a homeless.
Take a breath. Take a breath. It's gonna be okay.
No, it's not.
We can.
No, it's not.
You're being audio video recorded, just so you know.
I don't care.
Okay.
I do not care. All right. See, y'all not doing me. Cause she's a woman. You know, put me first.
Take a breath.
That's not okay. She has no right to treat me like that. I have places to be, things to do. I have no choice but to take the bus. And she's gonna force me to take the next one, and I'm gonna be late, which means I'm not gonna get done, which means it's not gonna be okay. Because of a cigarette that two other people were smoking at the same spot. Selfish.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell, but this is what we've got. Hidden camera found in shrubbery outside Scarsdale home. You gotta check your grounds. Check your grounds around your property. You might find hidden cameras.
Police are warning tonight about camouflaged cameras hidden in the Police are warning tonight about camouflaged cameras hidden in the shrubbery outside upscale suburban homes. One was found 3 days ago in Scarsdale, but
link is in the chat. Trying to get through my windows. I have posted on, people finding cameras that are pointed towards their homes several times. I'm going to link below to this short documentary on baby boomers going homeless, baby boomers who are homeless, and I just can't do it anymore. Property tax increases. Latest blow to struggling Lincoln mom in Nebraska. Her property tax raised an additional $700. She's putting her sons through college, which she should rethink, considering the economy. But this is what people are dealing with, all right? The violence is growing outwards, and a whole lot of people are even facing huge increases just in property tax alone, with all of the inflation that is taking place, and they can't make it. It's a violence. The link is in the chat. And of course, U.S. launches airstrikes in Iraq. 4 members of the PMF reported killed just hours after Israel bombed Beirut. And yes, the killing continues of the Palestinians. The regional war continues. Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. All of the wars are continuing, okay? I will post the link to this article. There you go. Did that happen? No. Why not? Peace. Go. Okay. Now it happened. So, we also have This Is Unjust. Female boxer quits Olympic match, melts down in tears after biological male brutalized her in 46 seconds. Biological male allowed to step into the ring and fight female boxers at the Olympics. 2 massive shots to the head. She quit. She was afraid for her life playing this guy. And it's a guy. I'm sorry, this is not a woman just because you identify. Look at this guy. You flippin' kidding me. Look at this. This is a woman. Unjust? Yeah. That it's happening is outrageous. I don't know what the hell is wrong. But we needed an awful lot of people to step up to the plate on this issue alone. And we didn't have it. Yeah, I identify as a woman. So I get to throw punches at women at the Olympics. And I won. This is, I don't know what the hell is wrong with us. Yeah, that's real fair. And these people who are identifying as women, they feel that they don't have any shame. The swimmers who take all of the trophies, the boxers who are, they don't have any shame. I guess not, right? It's outrageous. It's friggin' outrageous. Female athlete carried off on stretcher after being forced to fight a biological male in the Olympics. Was she forced? You have a dream? The dream is destroyed. I include this This is how sick we are as a country. Drudge Report, all of the links to headline news. Nothing about the Colorado fires. I did see one link to the California Park fire. None of the other fires. But today, nothing. It's all politics, all politics. Get that programming, get that programming. Keep Americans locked into the matrix. Nothing about the fires. People are losing their homes. People have died in these fires. Nothing. The sickness in our country is so beyond anything that I could have even thought of. European vaccination card will be piloted in 5 countries. Oh boy, all of this is just coming. It's just coming to us. Thank you to my subscriber who sent this along. Despite decades of awareness, zoonotic diseases, those transmitted from animals to humans, continue to pose a significant threat to global health. In the face of the unprecedented COVID-19 crisis, our global lack of preparedness for such outbreaks became starkly apparent. It's a pilot program, don't worry. Introducing the European vaccination card. One key tool that Uwe Beko will introduce is the European vaccination card, scheduled for launch in September 2024. Initially piloted in 5 pilot countries, Latvia, Greece, Belgium, Germany, and Portugal. The card aims to empower individuals by consolidating all of their vaccine data in one easily accessible location. It will be available in various formats, including printed cards, mailed copies, and digital versions for smartphones. Rolling out. All of the agendas are just rolling out fine. And this, Brattleboro, Vermont, school can't be sued after child received COVID vax against parents' wishes. Against parents' wishes. Because they're protected under the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness PrEP Act, which provides liability immunity in the event of a public health emergency. The PrEP Act ensures certain covered persons are immune from claims causally related to the use of a covered countermeasure. A vaccine is a countermeasure. The parents and the school acknowledged that the parents said they did not want their child vaccinated, and they went ahead and vaccinated, and the parents took them out of that school. Too bad for you. Just a mistake. No recourse do you have. And I want you to listen to this, and if the Trump supporters are not getting that he is part of the divide and conquer in a big way, I don't know what's the awake Trump supporters are so dead asleep in the matrix that it's phenomenal.
Gonzalez. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump made headlines this week after suggesting that this year's election could be the last U.S. election if he wins in November. Trump made the comment Friday in Florida at Turning Point Action's Believers Summit.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
For more...
Any Christians asking, what does that mean? We're not going to have to vote anymore? Does that mean that we will become a full-out dictatorship, tyranny, no more voting? What, Trump is going to be king? Okay. Oh my God, I have a headache. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. But there's a lot of articles about how Trump is going to create a Christian nationalist country. And whether or not that actually happens, it doesn't matter. But when you hear stuff like that, it's like, I'm going to fix it. You'll never have to vote again. That should frighten everyone. What is this guy thinking? What's going on? But playing to the Christians. They love it. They don't understand this guy at all. They think he's the chosen one. He said he was the chosen one. Hello? Anybody who's claiming to be a chosen one, you have to back away from. Because they're pretty, well, let's say their ego is quite inflamed. I'll put the link in. This is Secretive Christian Nationalist Network tries to purge voters in battleground states. What he said in just that minute and a half, everybody should be backing away and questioning, what the hell did that mean? But yeah, I mean, Christians, get out and vote. Oh, everybody else I don't give a shit about. Emotional Minneapolis residents describe living hell of life next to a homeless camp. 2 minutes. I'll put the link in. These homeless camps are really causing big problems for people, and these, as far as I'm concerned, are the alcoholics, the drug addicts. I have an awful lot of homeless that are not in those categories, sleeping in their cars, wouldn't allow themselves to live in this kind of condition.
I'm on the top floor, so I see and hear everything. I have a bird's eye view over the encampment, and I also see and hear everything that happens in the street.
What used to be her spot to catch some fresh air has become anything but for Bea Bletzian in the building she's called home for 13 years. Just south of downtown Minneapolis, behind this old brick building on East 24th Street on a city-owned lot, it's easy to see why.
How soon do people who live here make contact with the city to say, hey, this has got to
Oh, immediately.
And what's been the reaction from the city at this point?
A joke.
Bletzian and some of her neighbors sat down with Alpha News to detail the nightmare they've been living these last 4 weeks.
It blows my mind that anyone would think it's okay to put this here, this harm reduction encampment where people are being enabled to use and to overdose. We've had, I think, like 5 overdoses already so far. You know, and the level of crime that is happening here, people being threatened at gunpoint multiple times, shootings happening here. So much is going on. It just blows my mind in such a short amount of time. It's like...
And destroying the peace and comfort of a whole lot of people's homes. The link is in the chat. The world is descending into social, economic, and geopolitical chaos. The link is in the chat. Let's see. What else do we have? We've got, is the U.S. falling apart? Yes. Link is in the chat. These are just within the last couple of days. We've got Jeremiah Babe. U.S. economy is now collapsing. You're on your own. Good luck. Link is in the chat. We've got Neil McCoy Ward. Hell is breaking loose. Get your house in order now. Several of these are within the last 24 hours. What else do we have? We've got Gregory Mannarino. Prepare for the greatest fall of all time as bond yields crater. Link is in the chat. Things are not going well. Hope you're in a safe place. It's over. It's over. Short and sweet. Massive economic fraud exposed. Link is in the chat. This is, I'm telling you, we're inching closer and closer and closer to full-out chaos. And I think they're going to try and contain an awful lot of this until the election is over. And then all hell is going to break loose. And Trump may very well step in to be president because Biden is stepping out and declare martial law. Yay, Trump supporters. Dow closes nearly 500 points lower Thursday as investors' recession fears awaken. Doesn't matter. It's all rigged. They even rig in the downs of the Dow. But it'll go back up. Oh, in fact, Gregory Mannarino speaks about it. And that link is in the chat. He too says, it doesn't matter. It's all, this is all a game. The stock market craters, economic free fall accelerates. Intel to cut jobs and suspend dividend in cost-saving push. How many jobs? Huh. Oh, only 17,500 plus. We've been told they will be, the mass layoffs will be enormous. And we were also told that they would be coming in the second half of 2024. 17,500 plus. And all of those working for these intelligence agencies, do you think they're going to find a job? A comparable job? No. We are at 300 whatever. 300. I mean, the numbers, Disney Entertainment, 140. Van manufacturer Morgan Olson, 139. Bungie, 220. Nerd Wallet, 115. Match Group, 156. A lot. And John Deere, more layoffs. In fact, retired John Deere employee on mass layoffs, it's going to be devastating. I'll put the link in. You can listen to the interview. Yeah. We're at devastation every single day now. Serious devastation. It's official. Unemployment is about to hit the fan. Okay, link is in the chat. Trying to give you the big picture. I know it's overwhelming. Taco Bell to expand AI tech at drive-thrus. What then happens to the employees? Laid off. Americans can't even afford chocolate. Hershey sales crater. Even Hershey said, well, the CEO, Michelle Buck, made a stark observation about just how hard hit the U.S. middle class is, admitting that consumers are pulling back on discretionary spending. And nobody wants to hear the truth. I'll post the link. A whole lot of people are affected by a whole lot of people, their behavior, which is not good. All right. So, I hope that you're prepared for anything, and what we're looking at is not pretty. Yeah, we know that. All right. So what we need to do is get ourselves right with all of the drama and all of the chaos and all of the anger and all of the violence and all of... We don't engage. We don't cause problems for other people. We get ourselves right. We live honestly, we speak honestly. We develop ourselves as trustworthy human beings. You help those in your community, those in need, and your word you keep. That is paramount. If you don't have any community and you think that there's a possibility of developing a community fast, go for it. Because if you don't have community, good luck surviving what's coming. Anyway, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Good night, good luck. Ciao, guys.